doing what to do. If you're looking at me and my eyes look tired, it's because they feel tired. It's allergy season, and by God's grace, I still have eyes in my head. I kid you not, my eyes are itching. I use everything they tell me to, and nothing seems to work. Like I wash my eyes. I'm not wearing mascara. I wear eyeliner, and I wear a particular type of eyeliner, and my eyes itch. I'm fine when I'm indoors, but the minute I step outside, it's like, so it's allergy season right up until the end of, and then after that, my eyes are so damaged I don't wear makeup for the rest of the summer until the fall when things start calming down. It's just the most incredible thing. So my eyes look tired because I'm constantly rubbing them, right? So thank you so much. We got a lot to talk about. It's the week in review. So I wanted to talk about this because yesterday, scrolling through Twitter, I came across a story on Kenneth Copeland. Kenneth Copeland, as you know, is a worldwide known evangelist, right? He's based in Texas. And I read that I wanted to see where they were going with this. I was curious. So I wanted to see where they were going with it. So I went with it, right? And I read the story. I watched the YouTube interview. They cornered him at, let's say he was taking a private jet. So they cornered him at a private airstrip, Inside Edition. And they cornered him at a private airstrip in, I don't know, they didn't say which city, which it's okay. They don't have to tell us, but they knew of his travel plans, obviously. And they cornered him and they started asking him questions about his lifestyle. And so they asked him questions. They didn't ask him how much he's worth because they can find that out. They asked him, why does he take private jets, right? They asked him how much money, why does he wears expensive suits? I'm just telling you what they asked him. And then they asked him, how come he's using Tyler Perry's jet? And so his answer was, Tyler Perry loaned me his jet. He knew I had to go preach to some countries. He said he had a number of countries to do in a limited time frame. And obviously he can. So I watched the interview because I wanted to see what they were going to say. And at the end of it, something stirred up in me. And I wasn't angry, but why are you picking on them? To me, if you want to pick on someone, expose the lifestyles of capitalists and industrialists who are who are selling children as sex slaves and who are using child labor in countries and are making millions, fistfuls of dollars. The reason I'm saying that is because you have to look at it I'm looking at it dispassionately. Has nothing to do with me being a Christian, but it has everything to do with me being a person who needed hope. And here is why. Years and years ago, I lived in Central Florida with my then husband, who beat me up and who sought to destroy my life. Every day, the only thing that kept me going, that made me want to continue living, were Christian preachers on television who continued to inspire me and push me. I would not be here today without the message of hope. And when Kenneth Copeland said, when he travels to countries, he brings the message of hope to people who are in despair, the reporter scoffed at the idea of it. Now, maybe in her world, she doesn't need hope. Maybe everything is hunky-dory. Maybe she can do everything she ever wanted to do. Maybe she can go wherever she wanted to go. She can buy whatever she wanted to buy. Maybe she's not living in a prison. Maybe she's not living in a prison of shame, or she's not living in a prison where opportunities are denied. But so she doesn't need hope. And the others around her, they don't need hope. But for most of the world's population who live in settings where there is no hope, that's where you need hope. You see what I'm saying? So for me, I had to look back because I had my finger on the button, but I had to look back and I said, I cannot be disingenuous. I have to admit that there was a time in my life when people like Kenneth Copeland preaching the message of hope, I found that's what kept me. It gave me hope to hold on that a better day is coming. It told me that I could become somebody, and I could become whom I wanted to be if I just hung in there. I am living witness that hope is eternal and that hope can transform your life. I had nothing. When my ex-husband left me, I had nothing. Say nothing, nothing. And for many of you who watch me, maybe you don't like my message. Maybe you don't like me. Maybe you don't like my braids. Maybe you don't like you think I'm radical. Maybe you don't like the fact that I speak the truth. Maybe that's not what you need. Yeah. Maybe you want someone to pat you down every day and tell you how great you are every day, because every day you're great. And maybe you need someone to show boobs, right? In today's world, that's what seems to motivate people. People want the down and the dirty. Maybe they want me to curse and swear and talk, bad stuff and use the F word and show my body and display what my body is. This is not what I am called to do. That's not me. I'm called to bring instruction. I'm called to teach and to inspire and to bring hope and to motivate people just like I was. I'm called to show all of us how to live, including myself. These are hardcore lessons that I learned at the feet of despair. I was not in a good place when these messages were coming at me. I was not in a good place when these learning experiences became my everyday way of life. But I am here to tell you today that hope is powerful and hope is eternal. I am here. I can sit in this chair, be in this space with you today because of hope. Because that's all I had. My ex-husband promised me that he was going to tear me apart. If he didn't kill me, his exact words were, I'm going to kill you. And if I don't kill you, I'm going to destroy you so no one will ever want you. I think that taught me something. It taught me that I had to live in hope. I was going to prove to him that he was wrong. But at the time, if I could have, based on the circumstances, I could have just said, well, he is right. There's nothing going on right now. You might as well give up. Everything in my life dictated that there was no way I would have made it out. Nothing was working. Guys, did you hear me? Nothing. The only thing I had is hope. So here's what I want you to take away from this. I know you have to go, you're busy, and you have things to do, and I'm not the only person you want to watch or listen to. And maybe, just maybe, I am not psyching you up. Like nowadays, preachers, they get you roped up and happy and touch your neighbor and turn around and things manifest. No. But here's what I want you to take away. No matter what you're going through, if you can hang on in there for one more day, just hang on in there. That's what I kept telling myself. Put my foot one in front of the other every day, I would eventually make it. I'm here today. I had nothing but hope. I lived in a country where I was an undocumented immigrant, so I had no influence. I had no access to anyone powerful. I had no access to people and situations. I had no access to money. I couldn't even buy gas without him using the credit card. I couldn't go to the gas station and fill up. I used to wonder and wish that that day would come. I couldn't go to the store without him standing over me, making sure that I wasn't taking money to do anything. Can you believe that even when I started working and worked my own money, I paid all the bills so I could never save money? That is despair. That is the epitome of despair. So I could never plan for an escape. I had a set of poverty. You know what that poverty was? I had lacked hope. I lacked the fact that I could get up one day and make it out of it. It was people like Kenneth Copeland and a plethora of others. There was Joyce Meyer. What's his name? Joel Osteen was not on the scene yet. There was a crazy guy from Atlanta named Creflo Dollar. Remember him? That preacher guy? And then there was Eddie Long. That's why in the end, in his story, I had to forgive him. Because I remember when he inspired me, when he pushed me and looked right in the camera and told me that I'm going to make it. Do you see what I'm saying? So now, when I look back, I have to say hope was a great contributing factor to who I am today. Hope defined me. All I had were dreams. How those dreams were going to manifest was based on hope. It was nothing more. But I believed in what the person on the other end of the camera was telling me. I believed in their words. I believed that I could make it if I tried. Now, the Copelands and others, they might have inspired me more than they knew how, because I didn't know at the time that they were so much in debt. They were going to lose everything in appearing on television every day. Anybody who has ever done anything and stepped out on faith is living witness. I was on radio paying my way. This is why when people say stuff, I'm like, you have not a clue. You've never paid for anything. You've never paid for your dream. You've never believed in it. I was just driving down Woodward, and a guy in his aggression, in his, male aggression, white power, male aggression self, because in my car, you can see me, saw me coming and decided to just swing out carelessly without thinking of the consequences. I had to swing into another lane quickly to avoid hitting him and slow down. So I tooted him when I pulled up beside him. He's driving a nice car. He's driving a newer model Buick. And I said to him, what is wrong with people? Give thanks that you can drive a Buick. Give thanks that you have a new car. There are people this morning who had to get up and walk to the bus stop. There are people who had to wake up and walk their kids to school, then take a bus to go to a dead-end job that they don't have. You're living in a suburban community. First of all, your skin is white, so that means I think it's easier for you to get stuff done. That's the first thing. Secondly, you drive. I'm like, dude, you're driving a car. What is the problem? I'm like, you don't need hope. Maybe what you have is just anger, misplaced anger, when you should be angry at yourself. You see where I'm coming from? And as I'm driving down the street, I said to myself, what do those folks whom I'm driving past at the bus stop, what do they have? Hope. A few months ago, it was really cold. Back in early January. Oh my goodness, it was so cold. It was late one night. I went to pick up, it wasn't late, it was like 10 o'clock. It was really cold. And I went to pick up my daughter. And we're driving down the street. I think it was Woodward, I think too. It was Woodward, right? And we're driving down the street. And there was a woman standing at the bus stop. You know what the temperature was? Guess. 10 degrees, and the wind chill was negative 15. That meant it was actually colder than the thermometer was recording. And there was a woman standing at the bus stop. She had on a white jacket. So on my way to picking up my daughter, I saw her. And I said, well, maybe she's waiting on the bus. She's going to come back when I come, So I told my daughter when I picked her up that there's this lady standing on the bus stop. It's 10 o'clock at night. I don't even know if the buses are going to run. Let's see if we can call her an Uber to get her to her destination. And my daughter said, Mom, why did you drive past her to come and pick me up? You're in a warm vehicle. I'm in a warm building. You should have talked to her. So when we went back, I said, well, if we see her. So on our way down, we saw her at the bus stop. So I did the loop thingy, right? The Michigan loop, and pulled up. And even her lips were frozen. And I said, are you waiting on someone? And she said, I'm waiting on my bus. I said, would you like to come into our vehicle? And she said, no. I said, would you like us to get you a cab to get you anywhere? And she said, I don't have the money. I said, I said, you don't have to worry about that. And she said, just stay here with me because the bus is 2 minutes away. She said, I just checked it. The bus is 2 minutes. And we waited with her. She was freezing. And I said, keep your limbs moving so you don't freeze up. There were tears running down my daughter's face when she saw it. And she said, Mom, but for the grace of God, that could have been one of us. Do you see? Hope is powerful. Hope is life. Hope. Whenever you hear people say that, before someone takes their own life, they say certain things, right? You know that, right? They give up because to them, the only way that they can make it is what? Without hope, right? Is without life. Some people will even say that if I'm not here, things will be better. Some people will say, well, if I'm not here, you will get the insurance money and you can continue living, right? If I'm not here, you will get the house, you'll get the car. If I take myself out of it, the kids will get the money to go to college. People give up. But here's my thing. My thing is this. If you have hope, it doesn't matter what your situation is. I have been in some of the deepest, darkest places that the human spirit could enter into. I was sexually molested. And don't think I'm going all negative. I'm outlining to you why I have reason to hope that if someone like me, who has seen the most desperate and destitute times of the human spirit, can sit here every day and encourage you and motivate you, surely there is a thing called hope. This is why I encourage you to go buy my books. Go buy my books. Rebroadcast my stories on YouTube. Click on the links when I post them on Facebook. You never know whose life you might be touching. Your life, just by you liking something that I post, might just inspire someone else who is at the bottom of it. Nowadays, people are quick to like stuff that is salient, right? People want, if you don't include sex in it, they don't want to hear it, because we've all become voyeurs. We want to, the anonymity of the camera. We want to stay behind our social media profiles and observe other people as they live out their lives. And especially people whom we like, we want to know more about them. It's almost as if just watching them every day makes us curious, right? And that curiosity can be deadly, very, very deadly. My daughter was telling me that they saw somebody at the coffee shop that we go to, and they are pretty sure they have encountered that person in a space where he shouldn't have been. And for them to find him in this space, they're pretty sure that it's not a coincidence. So before they could do something about it, he sped off, right? That's something now that I have to look out for, because that tells you that there are people out there who have nefarious intentions. But let me ask you this. Look at me. Look right here. Look here. Ignore the fact that my eyes are swollen and I look like somebody's hit me in the face. My eyes are killing me. If you want to know the truth, it's just, it is what it is. I have to live in an air-conditioned environment all the time during the spring months until the stuff calms down, right? But luckily for me, I have air conditioning, right? So thank God for that, right? There are many people who don't have that, right? So you live in hope. There were such destitute, dark moments. And it wasn't everyone who was preaching hope around me. There was nothing in my life to be hopeful about, because truthfully, I could have given up. And my oldest daughter reminded me of that this morning when she said, had it not been for the intervention of the message of hope, or whatever you are thinking, but think about it. You don't have to. You didn't live it. I did. You didn't have to put up with the residue. I did. I had to make the effort to clean it up. Yes, I'm using it to tell you how not to be, how not to make the same mistakes that I did. Don't go through it the same way that I did. But she reminded me that as a child, this is from her perspective. She says, as a child, she had to watch her mother being beaten by her father, not by her mother's boyfriend, not by some strange guy, but by her own father, who beat her mother, which was robbing her of life. And she said there was nothing in her life every day after school just to wonder if when she got home today, she would get to see her mother. Do you see what I'm saying? So she said all she had was hope. She said her future was, she said, no, she says at the time, she's now confessing to me things she never told me. I didn't know she thought like this. I did not know. I had to squeeze her hand and tell her I love her, because I did not know she thought like this. She said, I didn't know if I would ever live to grow up, to have my dreams fulfilled. She said, all I had was hope. Do you know there are people in the world today, as we live in America today, yes, we don't like everything that's going on. The politicians are running amok. They're going crazy. The society just seems to be moving a little. I'm not sure where it's going. Is it going there or is it going here? I'm really not sure. But you know what we have? We live in an environment that is, the government is still in place. Yeah. Chances are you can go to work. And if you didn't get the job you applied for, keep moving. One of the things that happened to me was how challenging my life was, right? My life became a series of challenges. And what happened was there were so many adversities that after a while, I didn't even know where to turn. The adversities were greater than the force of good sometimes. That's what it looked like. It looked like as hard as I tried was the harder it became to overcome. And as I looked at it, it became quite clear to me that it proves something about the human spirit, that in order to overcome the bad, you have to be tried with the most incredible stuff. Hope is a promise that tomorrow is going to be a better day. Hope is the promise that if I wake up tomorrow, it is going to be a better day. Years ago, I went somewhere to speak on ending violence against women and girls. And I recognized that if think about it, the platform that I was given, I didn't choose this. I didn't choose to be beaten up, right? I didn't choose this, but the platform that they could have just given me, oh, just go talk about love or something. But they gave me a platform that I had to live it to be convinced that it was something to do. It's not popular. No one wants to talk about it, not even women. Women are often uncomfortable because they think, well, it's not their story, although 1 in 4 women will experience violence in her lifetime. So there is that. Or maybe they feel guilty because they were exposed to it, either third party exposure or they know someone, but they don't want to confront it, kind of thing. So it's not popular. It's not something that is going to win me. If I'm going to get views on Facebook or YouTube, it's because I'm showing boobs or something. Nah, they don't want that. You know what people want? Just tell me what I want. One guy told me, one of my viewers back in February told me, quite frankly, just show your boobs all day. Just show your boobs all day, Harriet. Just show me what your boobs look like. I kid you not. But that's not what this is about, right? Hope is eternal. Hope, therefore, whatever you're going through, if you have been to the doctor and they tell you that they've pronounced a life sentence. You know what a life sentence is? It's not when you go to the courthouse and they tell you how much time you're going to spend in jail. A life sentence is when the doctor tells you you have 9 months or 2 years. They've given you a certain period of time at which you will expire based on the prognosis and based on the progress of the disease. Hope, therefore, in the Lord. Hope. Put your hope in something solid. Put your hope that I believe. This is why it's important to start our days with positive thoughts. To be honest with you, being negative takes way too much energy, right? Being negative, it just it takes too much energy to be negative. I used to say people who create drama, that's what people want today. Have you noticed? Do you know why reality shows are so popular? People want drama. These are the same people who tell you that they're not negative and they don't want to be negative, but you are busy watching other people's drama. You're busy watching other people being negative. Do you see where I'm coming from? That's why reality shows are popular. We're voyeurs. We want to see the down and dirty of people's lives. We want to see them get angry, flip tables. We want to over women who have multiple partners and men having that's what we want to see. Because for some reason, that's what we've been socialized by the messaging that comes through what we view that tells us that's what's entertaining. We live in this culture of entertainment. Right now, we are being dominated by a god of entertainment. Entertaining, they don't like you. So people, to achieve what you want to achieve and to be well-liked, you have to do something entertaining. Do crazy stuff. They'll tell you the most outlandish thing you can think of. Have a wardrobe malfunction. One guy told me have a wardrobe malfunction. And I was shocked. I'm like, I have children. I have to be accountable to them. I have to be accountable to myself. I'm not sure that is what I want to do. Right? A message of hope. So I am not saying quitting, watching, or whatever inspires you, whatever motivates you. Some of us on our way to work in the mornings, we listen to music. We have our favorite radio station because that's just what makes you feel good about yourself. As for me, I listen to my thoughts sometimes. I listen to music. I like gangster rap. It just has a way of driving you, right? I listen to inspirational music. Yes, I do. There's some of them that I like. I just go into my music, Apple Music or whatever it is, and just start playing something, whatever inspires you. When I wake up in the mornings, there are certain things I tell myself. In spite of all the negativity, guys and gals, hear me out. There is nothing greater than hope. And the messaging that we're getting through the news and so on is like, you might as well give up. I mean, folks in Missouri had a terrible storm yesterday, and it sounds like, what are they going to do? As far as I'm concerned, opportunity to rebuild. Every time something bad happened to me, I had to look at it and say, what's the opportunity here? You remember when we studied economics and they used to tell us about opportunity cost? And I used to say, whoever came up with that needs a slap in the head. Oh, I hated economics. Oh, did I have to really study it? But it's the one of the few subjects I studied that actually has real life. Like, seriously, right? Because the opportunity cost. What is the opportunity cost of your adversity? What you called a failure is just a missed opportunity. It's another opportunity to start again. When I published my first book, Visions, and I sold 10 copies, I asked myself, what's the opportunity cost here? I ignored everything I knew about marketing. I just thought that the people who were Christians and who saw me at church were going to buy the book. And I'm like, but I have a bigger audience out here. How do I get to them? And I didn't do what I knew to do. See, the minute I went on radio, all of a sudden, people started buying my books. Had to spend money to make money. So this reporter was asking Kenneth Copeland, how does he make money to fly around and he wears expensive suits? And I'm like, what's wrong with the man wanting to be better than his circumstances dictated about himself? Right? And I said, so what if he can buy a suit for $5,000? Dude, buy 10 of them. See if you can buy me one. Buy me my female style. I'll send you my size. Just buy me one of them skirt suits that cost $5,000. I'll wear it. Do you see what I'm saying? But you know what he said? He said, we gave out 25 million to the poor last year. And I said, you know what that is? That's someone putting his money where his mouth is. He gave 25 million to the poor. Now, I'm going to imagine he has huge assets to be able to give out 25 million. So my challenge was, how much did you give? How much have you given? You got to put your money where your mouth is. I started a shelter for human trafficking survivors, not because I got government funding, not because I got funding from the state, not because anybody wrote me a check for $100,000 and said, here. I put my money where my mouth is. Do you see what I'm saying? And this man is talking about giving $25 million to the poor. Okay. I think that's a challenge to the rest of us. Write a check to the Exodus Foundation. Write a check to someone. You see where I'm coming from? He is selling the message of hope. And he goes to the places where there is no... people in America don't lack hope. People in America have access to opportunities. So the message of hope is kind of lost here. Really, what you're telling me? People are like, dude, really? They go to work. Then they go down to the dealership and sign for a car. Then they go to the bank, get a loan, start a business, buy a house. Do you see where I'm coming from? People in America don't lack hope. That's why the message of hope does not resonate here. Do you know most of my audience is international? Do you know why that is? People from other countries in the world. Sometimes at night, my phone is going crazy with people going to my website from other parts of the world. You know what happens in other parts of the world? People have limited access to the internet. In certain parts of Europe and certain parts of the world, you pay for internet access. You and I are thinking, well, I pay my cable bill for internet. No, not like that. You pay a certain amount of money per month to have access to the internet for a certain amount of time. Here in America, we have unlimited, unfettered access to the internet all day, 24 hours a day. If you roll over at 1 o'clock in the morning and you didn't pay your light bill, grab your phone, get your app. It has your credit card stored in there. Boom, you pay that bill. Oh, so I didn't buy that thing on Amazon. Pick up your phone, get in your Amazon app, and boom, you can order something that can get to your door with 2-day shipping on Prime, with Prime, whatever. Do you see what I'm saying? In America, we don't lack hope. But in other countries of the world, where they have to walk for miles to get a gallon of water, where they don't have access to farming techniques, and they don't have, how shall I say it? They don't have fruitful land, where the land is dry and arid because of drought and because of bad farming practices over time, because of war. People don't have hope. Here in America, we don't need hope. We are hope. People in the rest of the world are looking to us. They want to be like us. They want to live like us. The lives that you take for granted, most of us live in mini mansions. Stop talking. I'm speaking the truth. The house that you live in, you tell yourself it's too small. You have 3,000 square foot. And you're like, this is too small for you, your wife, and 2 children who are about to leave to go to college. Truth? Truth. Right? People in other parts of the world don't even have 500 square feet of space. Some of you have 3 cars parked outside. You have your choice of which vehicle you're going to drive today, and the opportunity to change that out next week, next month, next year. People in the other parts of the world don't have that. We are blessed in America. You call it blessing? Is that what it is? I call it you are living hope. For someone else in another part of the world, you are exactly whom they want to be. You want to live exactly who they are. Hope is a powerful thing. Hope, when I sat down and looked at my life and looked at the ravages of my life, I was 31. And I'm like, what have I done to myself? And I looked at my life and I'm like, how am I going to ever get out of this? What is going to happen to me and my child? How are we going to live? Where are we going to live? What am I going to do? All I had was hope for a better day. I listened to all these people. Like I told you, I read into the library and I said, I'm not the first person on creation who's been through this. So let me go find others who have survived this. And the only thing that worked for me was the Bible. I read everybody's self-help books, all that stuff. The constant messaging of affirming who I am, of believing. Change our messaging. Change the messaging. Hope is eternal. Folks like me, maybe I'm not popular because I'm living witness of the adversity. We don't want to confront, we don't want to confront the things that we as human beings do to one another. Have you ever seen a human trafficking survivor give her story? And people are voyeuristic. We're voyeuristic. So we want to look at, well, how many men did she have sex with? How many times? I've been in a place where a woman was giving her story. And I was amazed at how people were looking at her. And when she was done, she said, how did I do? And I said, you did great. I said, the problem is how people perceived you. And it wasn't anything that you did because her presentation was good. I said, it's people are voyeuristic. So they're looking at you and they're like, well, how many men did she say she had sex with? How did she do it? You see where I'm coming from? And she said, I get that everywhere I go. I said, but you still continue to do what you do, irregardless. Hope. And she said the same thing. For her story was just incredible. Do you see what I'm saying? Hope. Some of us, there are people who just live in light all day. Can I be honest with you? You don't even want to know when people are standing before the camera, what you see is not real sometimes. People are before the camera and they pretend that everything is okay. You don't want to know the destitution of their spirit. You don't want to know how they hate themselves. You don't want to know how they scream at the people around them. You don't want to know how they don't like what they do. But they're great actors. and they pretend. But we buy it because we want to hear it. Joel Osteen became very popular because he was a motivational speaker above all else. He was just a motivational speaker who, for him, the adversity was no one believed that he could preach as well as his father did. That's all. He just was a popular white man with, and Americans love a Southern white man with a Southern accent. Oh, we do. He was just standing there every day. And we just believed in this good looking white man with a Southern accent. He too was telling the message of hope, right? The hope is eternal. So what I want you to do this weekend, I want you to think about inspiring someone. Have you ever thought about what you do for others, that your actions inspire others? Have you ever thought about that? Have you ever thought that what have you overcome? There are times in my own experience when, like my daughter this morning had to remind me how bad it was for me to realize how far we have come. We have come a mighty long way. And it was hope that kept us going through all of that. If we didn't have the hope, we wouldn't have continued to press towards the mark. That's the difference. Today, we want a quick fix. People want me to say, jump 3 times and it's going to turn around. That's not a reality that I embrace, because that's not how it works. Because I have found that it's diligence and patience and working it over and not giving up and putting my money where my mouth is when I had the money. Sometimes I didn't have the money. I just had pure hope and belief. But we did it. Hope is powerful. I knew I had to write books. How I was going to get them published was a whole other story. But hope is powerful. I believed. And therefore, I did. It's the same with you. It can be if you choose to. I believed. Hope is powerful. Never quit and never give up, because you just never know what's at the turnaround. I have this thought. I could be wrong, but I feel like I believe that people who kill themselves, that when they cross over, that God is over there saying, he shows them what the options they would have achieved. And he said, you couldn't live a little bit longer to see this? And once he exposes them to how elastic time is, then they would realize that, can I go back? But can't. Once you cross over, it's done. Time is elastic. I am living witness. I was 30 years old when I recognized that I had a call to do this. I thought I was going to do other things with my life. It took me years to develop into this. And I was crazily mapped out. I freaked out. I said, are you kidding me? In this eternal youth culture, they're going to think I'm irrelevant. But you know what I found? Time is elastic. You look at my face and you're like, she's 52. And I'm like, yep, every day, all day, I walk in it. Time is elastic, right? Bend time and twist time to work for your good. Let time bring you the hope that you need. I'm going to call out each and every one of you and speak a blessing over you, because I want you to feel what I felt like. You don't believe me? There is a man in Detroit who has a church on 7 Mile and Telegraph. His name is Bishop Charles Ellis. You have all seen that crazy guy on TV preaching. That dude earned my eternal respect. Let me tell you why. He did not everything he does I agree with. I've called him out. But let me tell you something about it. He doesn't even watch me. But if you ever run into him, go touch his hand, because I said so. When I came to this town, nothing in my life looked like what I told him God had called me to be. But he saw something. He said, I see God. He said, I believe the God in you. He encouraged me, and he made sure that I stepped into the calling for which I was called. Hope. For years, I swear to you, for the first years that I sat under that man's ministry, between 2004 to up until 2009. He preached a message of pure hope. If he told us all to go to the moon, I think we were all going to get on a thing and go to the moon. If he said jump, we were like, how high? He was on fire. Sometimes I want to hear that again. He pushed us. If you are not listening to someone who is pushing you and driving you to effect meaningful change in your life, it's the wrong message. Because at the end of the day, it's what you do, how you feel about it that matters. You don't need to walk out of a message and just say, oh, and then you can't remember what the message was about. The message that changes you is the one that makes you think. The one that makes you say, For years, all I had were preachers on TV telling me how to be hopeful, hanging there, when there was nothing that said that it was ever going to be good. Can you believe it? You're all hearing my story now, and it hurts you because you're like, there is no way that happened, but it did. And I am here as living witness that no matter what the adversity is that stands before you, if you got a letter yesterday in the mail that your house is going to be foreclosed on, I am here to tell you hope. You don't know hope. Sit down and pray and have hope. So what? You have to come to the conclusion. So what if they take a house? At least you're living. And as long as you're living and you're breathing, there is hope. If they told you they're coming to pick the car up, and hope. If you got a letter saying that your kid is going to be kicked out of school because you couldn't pay the tuition, and there is hope. Well, maybe they can go to community college. Maybe they can take courses online. Maybe they can do work and study at the same time. Hope. Here in America, we put so much faith in what we see. We forget about the invisible that we don't see. And the invisible is the greatest force. We can't see God. We can't touch God. But there is a force called God. Yeah, there's a force of good. There's a force of evil that perpetrates evil on human beings. Yeah, war, human trafficking, sex trafficking, having sex with children. That is evil. But here, what are we going to do? What do you do to transform? You got to understand, to effect change, you have to start thinking it. I told someone recently that it takes way more energy to be negative than to be positive. And she looked at me like, really? And I said, yes. When you continue to think that the sky is falling, the sky is going to fall, everything is going to go bad, what happens is it pulls all the negativity into you. My daughter likes to say sometimes Mars and Venus, and what's the other one? The other popular planet. She says, they must be in retrograde or something because people are freaking out over here. Like, sometimes they are in retrograde, but hey, we won't talk about that, right? Hope is eternal. Hope. When I had to walk away, listen to me. You think I haven't been there? I lived in a 3-car garage house in a gated community. I had 2 children and a Toyota Camry, right? And it's either I got into that and keep it moving with $500 to my name. I go find a motel so they couldn't find me because they were beating me up. And they were threatening to take my children away. And that's all I had was hope. I hadn't yet published a book. All I had was hope that I would do it. So I got in my car. I opened the garage door. I backed out. And I said, see ya later. Backed out at 5 a.m. in the morning with the 2 children in the car. And everything, every worldly possession was left in that house. All the things I valued, all my china, my crystal, my Oriental rugs, all the stuff you acquire over a lifetime, all the jewelry, all that stuff was in the house. But the things that were most valuable to me were in the back of the car, my 2 children. I even left my passports. I forgot. I couldn't find them, so I left them. Right? Never saw them again. They even confiscated my travel documents. I kid you not. It took me years to work through that stuff. Imagine that. But you wouldn't have known if you had seen me, because I lived out hope. So when you saw me walking and talking, and you did not know that that was the backstory. It's just now I'm telling the backstory because I can do it from the vantage point of having overcome it. And having overcome it, it is my intention to make sure that everybody, anybody who is in a position like that, you can get up and make it. Because I had to drive away from a house that was everything with a swimming pool in the backyard. And I had to back out. You know where we slept that night? Guess. You know it. Econ Motel, Motel 6. Yeah. On Winter Park Boulevard in Orlando, Florida. Yep. Right outside of Altamont Springs. I kid you not. We drove out of that into Motel 6. You know who were in Motel 6? All the remnants of the world. My children were like, are you kidding me? This is like a Fleabag motel. There are probably roaches in there. I'm not sleeping tonight. It was a start. You know how I looked at it? Either that or I get killed, but here is life. Roaches and all. But at least we have life. And then the Bible says life and life more abundantly. I am going to find my abundant life. And that's how we got started. Amen. Amen. So I tell you today, hope, therefore, the message of hope is powerful. The message of hope is transformative. It will transform your situation, change the way you think. I have found that if I had sat there and thought like a victim, if I continued to tell myself that I'm a victim, if I continued to tell myself that my ex-husband had won and he had the power and he was going to do this because I had no foundation, I wasn't documented, I had nothing, I couldn't go back, I couldn't stay. What was I going to do? I had to stay here and walk it out. There were no guarantees, people. Nobody came and wrote it on a piece of paper. There were no guarantees. All I had was hope. And I held on for dear life. I literally plastered myself on a church. I should probably apologize to that man. If you ever run into him, his name is Bishop Charles Olive. If you ever see that guy, touch him. Touch that man. Touch him. He's hope. Because I wanted to plaster myself on that church. Because it gave me hope. I'm like, if I get up, I used to tell myself with all the stuff that I was going through, I got pulled over by the police, had no documentation. Are you listening to me? I didn't have anything. My kids were in school. Hey. But I said, if I can get to church on a Sunday, I am going to tell it and I'm going to have that victory. So that's why when you saw me in church, I was jumping up like a live wire. And that is why today, when you see me, you smile because you're looking at hope. Years ago, I started to tell you the story. I went somewhere to speak about ending violence against women and children. And somebody came up to me afterwards and she said, your name is Harriet. And I said, yes. She said, your first name starts with H. And I said, mm-hmm. And she said, you know what that means? And I said, okay. She said, hope. She said, everywhere you go in the world, everywhere that you will go from now on, she said, when people look at you, they're going to think of hope. And she just walked away. It was like one of those drop the mic moments. I never forgot it because I had never, you know it, looked at it like that. I just thought I needed to tell everybody that if God did it for me, if I came out of it, then so can you. So I don't care what it is today. If they gave you a letter that they're going to dissolve your business, I have to do my taxes, my business taxes. So I do my monthly, right? So yesterday I was doing my taxes and I was looking at it and I'm sitting here and I'm saying to myself, what do people do when they look at this stuff? And if you are looking at a letter from the bank that is threatening to wipe you out, I am here to tell you, so what? Believe that you will get past this. Believe in yourself. Believe. Hold on to your hope. Don't lose it. Don't lose it. If you got a letter saying that they want you out of the house. You know, when the bank is coming for your house, they don't care. I watched my mother on her sick bed without any, she couldn't work, so she didn't have any income. And she was applying, she had something called long-term insurance that was supposed to pay her. She was somehow banking on that to keep her through. And they gave her the hardest time. This is like, we got the diagnosis the first week of April. So this is like May, when the sickness, and in her mind, she had given up and believed that she was going to die anyway. And I watched her sit there and make the phone call. Man, that thing changed me. I took the phone from her. And I said, listen to me very carefully. They tell me my mother is not going to live long. I don't know if I have 30 days, but here's what you are going to do. You're going to give her hope by writing that check dated today. And I expect it here delivered by UPS. Truthfully, the check came in 3 days. What they said was not going to happen. It happened. I was livid. Do you know what happened to Mom when you looked at her face? She changed. The stress and everything just went away. And I'm like, Mom, really? But you know what it is? She said it was just, I didn't think it would happen before I left. And I wanted to make sure that you guys got the money before I left. Hope, people. Hope. I would have preferred having her. You can tell, right? Hope. Hold on to your hope. So what if they tell you it's over? Here's the thing that got to me. One of the things that I experience a lot is women telling me how their lives change when someone walks out. Can I be honest with you? Hope. Hope. Just look at me. Look right here. Hope. So what? If they walk out and tell you they don't want you anymore, so what? There are 7 billion people on the planet. You know somebody's going to want you. I don't know if you have to go to Victoria's Secret and put on a push-up bra. I don't know what you're going to have to do, but live in hope. Maybe you just need to go to Victoria's Secret, period, and just look around and say, wait, I told you the story the other day. I went to, it's one of my favorite places. And I went to Victoria's Secret the other day, and usually it's filled with young people, young girls, young people. This is the first time that the store had more women over 40 than there were people under 30. I was shocked. Even my children had to say, whoa. I said, you know what's going on? People are suddenly determining that I don't have to live like the society tells me that because I'm over 40 or 50, I have to wear this or wear that. People are now saying, I want to keep my husband. I want to do what the best thing is for me. They might say that, but what they're really thinking is, what is best for me? In every situation you find yourself in, ask yourself, what is the best outcome for me? What is it that I'm prepared to live with? Some of us live way beyond our means, and it imposes stress. And you don't know the magnitude of the stress till you go to the doctor and they pronounce that life sentence. You know that life sentence? They say, well, you only have 6 months, 3 months, 5 months, 10 months. I clear that out over you in the name of Jesus, right? But you don't know that you are looking at something that could potentially impact you. So what do? What are you going to do? What is the best outcome for me? Think about that. I had to ask myself, what is the best thing for me? Sitting in this house with all my bills paid? Guys, I never had to worry about a bill getting paid. I never knew what it is like to worry about a light bill, a water bill, taxes, car note, car insurance, medical, I never that was not it. But they were beating me up. But you know what happened? I'll take all the bills today because I have my peace and I have my hope. So what? Do you see what I'm saying? So maybe you don't need to live in that big house, stressing yourself out, living on a line of credit. Every week, the bank has to extend the line of credit so you can pay your people. Think about it. What is the best outcome? Divest yourself. Think about that. I heard my daughter told me that her teacher, after 20 years, has the final payment on her student loan. 20 years it took her to pay off her student loan for a bachelor's degree. People, hope. Hang on to your hope. And I just want to bless you and just thank God for you. I thank God that you were part of my show today, part of my experience. I thank God for you. If you never hear me again or never view me again, I just leave you with this. Hope, therefore. Hope is eternal. Never quit. Don't give up. Keep reaching. Keep striving. Do things to encourage yourself every day. Find what motivates you and keep living in hope. It is time to go. They almost told me off. They almost told me it was time to go. It's an hour. We got to go. Thanks so much. As of next week, we're going to bring you an encore of our show during lunchtime because many people say, I can't view you at 10 o'clock. So we're going to bring you an encore of the show during lunchtime. So thank you so much. Go to my website, harrietkamek.com. As usual, go to the exodusfoundation.com. Right on our homepage, there is a contribute sign. Help us to bring relief to folks like myself who lived without hope. That's what we do. We bring hope to the hopeless and a voice to the voiceless. The exodusfoundation.com. Thank you so much, everybody. Be blessed, everybody. See you next week. Enjoy your weekend. Hey, go out and live, right? Get on that boat. You have that boat docked up. Go live somehow. Live. Enjoy yourselves. Have a good weekend. Thank you so much, everybody. Thanks so much. Thank you so much. Enjoy yourselves. Live in hope. Amen and amen. Thank you, everybody. Hope. Powerful, isn't it? Powerful.